can't stand it. I'm not even going to be able to do this segment. If you got really lucky over the holidays, maybe your loved ones got you a puppy, but now what do you do to teach that little puppy to behave? Give it up for one of our good friends and a new friend, Dr. Eric Ruhland from the St. Paul Vet Hospital. And Butter, everybody. Give it up for Butter. Okay. Really?
Yeah, she's
really. You had to do this. I mean, this is how
she has been. Santa apparently knows what he's doing because we got a perfect puppy, and she has been just an absolute wonder for our rescue dog that we got from Alabama.
Yeah.
2 years ago, she was the most skittish dog, and she has been so awesome for her. She's confident and gregarious, and she just,
Audience, how perfect of a look at that face. She looks like we're doing a Target ad or something. Oh, look at her. Oh, my goodness.
It's like, it's my tail.
It's okay, Butter. I do that too sometimes. That's fine, yeah. Chasing my tail. Okay, we'll occasionally talk to you during this segment.
Yes, I know I'm not the star.
You're not the star of this, yeah. Okay, all kidding aside, we're using Butter as a good example because a lot of people did get a new puppy over the holidays.
Yeah.
So let's talk about let's start with common puppy mistakes.
I would frame up, Jason, so there's a handful, but I kind of distilled down a couple of the most common ones that I see when my puppies come in. A lot of it revolves around structure and setting up a puppy for understanding.
Lack thereof.
Exactly. Usually it's lack, and it's usually not either reprimanding or knowing how to correct a puppy in a moment. And that really, there's a lot of different ways that all boils down. But I usually start puppies when I get them in. There's a couple things that I start doing with her. We started doing from day one.
Okay.
Yes, I was lucky that she has a good disposition, but one thing that we do is setting up structure with kennel and crate training, first and foremost, and then also setting up structure around food and meal times.
Okay.
So if I had a food bowl in front of me right now and I was to give it to her, she's very food motivated. She's a lab. But when I set that food bowl down, she has to sit and wait for my permission to eat. She has to sit, look, make eye contact with me, and I say, okay, you can now eat. That sets up the structure for I am her alpha. I am the one that is above her in this relationship. She has to ask me for permission to do that. And that just starts for the communication with a puppy. Puppies can't reason at a high level, so they use the social cues of when they can eat in the order of their pecking order of a pack. They use that to know who is above and below them. So food structure is a really important thing, and that's the first thing with puppies right away. And then the crate. So puppies do not sleep in the bed with owners. Ever. Day one, they sleep in a kennel by themselves. It can be very challenging the first week. It's very challenging.
I love that you use the word challenging.
It can be a lot, but they need to be able to sleep on their own because they're going to develop separation anxiety significant if they can never sleep by themselves. How are we expecting them to sleep by themselves when you go to work for the day and when you go do those things? So the crate training, the most important thing is making sure the crate's small enough. If a crate's too big, if I put Butter in a kennel the size of this, the size of the deck here, she's going to go poop in the corners and she'll be fine. But if I leave a very small space, which sounds inhumane, but it actually works great at night, she has a little cushion in there and she only has a spot to sleep. She's about that big, about this big.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, dogs by nature, they do not like to defecate
in their space that they're sleeping. So it has to be small. So that's probably the biggest mistake that I see. So getting the crate training situation done.
And just know that the whining will stop. It's horrible for a couple days, but it will stop.
What typically happens is people will put the dog in the kennel, and then they turn around and they look and they're like, "Oh, see you, baby. Like, I'm so sorry." And then they turn around and walk away. Well, the dog is watching all of that anxiety. They're watching. They're making eye contact with you. And they're like, why are you so freaked out? Like, what's going on? Like, should I be nervous? Like, what's going on here? So the best thing is put them in the crate, turn around, walk away. Do not make eye contact with them. Don't make eye contact with, as long as they've gone out to the bathroom and they've gone. This morning, she woke me up at 3:30 with one yip, and I took her outside, went to go pee. I came back in, put her right back in the kennel, shut the door.
Done.
And I just go back to bed, and that's it. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Hold that thought. No. When we come back, things to worry about, things to not worry about. Plus, he's answering your questions when we return. Back after this, everybody.
Oh, totally.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, with Dr. Eric and Butter from the St. Paul Pet Hospital. We're going to answer your questions in just a little bit, but I said right before the break, okay, let's bottom line it for folks. If you got a new puppy, a thing to worry about. Sensibly worry about.
Sensibly worrying about socialization and keeping everything as positive as you possibly can. But the one big thing to worry about is people isolate puppies at home and they don't have socialization with a lot of other dogs. And that's one big thing. And the two other big ones, food, structure, and then kennel and crate training.
Those are the top three.
Those are the big ones.
Things to not worry about so much.
I think every single parent comes in to the clinic and they ask me two questions. What should I feed my dog? And am I feeding my puppy enough? I think I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. I've been doing vet med. But I have only one time ever seen a puppy that was really underfed. Everybody gets like this maternal instinct. Are we feeding our puppies enough? Just feed them what's on the bag, and that's great. And then stick with foods that are AAFCO approved. The big manufacturers, Purina, Eukanuba, Science Diet, Hills, all the big manufacturers, Nutrisource, they're AAFCO approved and a puppy formula.
And they're fine. So
They're
don't
fine.
stress so much about
Yes.
that. Okay, let's get to your questions. Again, we got great questions. Let's start with Janet. Hey, Janet. She says, I have a 10-year-old beagle who needs daily walks. Suggestions on how to walk him when it's too cold. I tried a treadmill with me. No go. Yeah.
Yeah, Janet. First of all, that's
Bless your heart for that one.
I was just going to say that's great. I was going to suggest a treadmill, but she's already a step ahead of me there. It takes really, really cold temperatures to actually keep dogs inside. Even today, it's near zero. Butter and I went out this morning for a half an hour, 20 minutes.
And so a
totally
thing maybe
fine.
not to worry about.
No,
Yeah.
that's really not, don't worry about that quite so much.
Okay,
No.
Teresa. Hi, Teresa. Teresa sent us this picture of her pug. Okay, how cute is that? She says he likes to attack people's ankles when they leave the house.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on how to stop this? Well, they just don't want him to leave.
Exactly.
I mean,
He's developed some degree of separation anxiety, and when people are leaving, he gets anxious. Your doorway to people's homes is kind of an anxiety-ridden situation anyway. When you think about the amount of emotion that people exchange when they're leaving, whether people are saying goodbye or when people are greeted at the door, that's a lot of emotion that is being exchanged, and a dog watches that, and they read that every time. My best suggestion for that situation, and I hear this complaint all the time, before your guests are going to leave, just put him or her in the kennel.
Yeah.
Just kennel them before they leave, because you can't have a reasonable conversation with them
and we
about
can't
that.
have a reasonable
No,
conversation
not with Butter
right now.
either. That's impossible.
I just want us all to be
Impossible.
clear. Yeah. Let's move on to Flora. Flora posted a picture of her cat. Here, kitty, kitty. She wants to know how to get the cat to go up the stairs. She goes down, but the cat demands to be carried up the stairs. Yeah.
I want Flora to explain demand.
I
want a definition of how she says demand.
Yeah.
Because the cat has clearly trained her very well to carry her up
I
the
was going to
stairs.
say, yeah.
My first thing is there a medical reason, or is there a congenital problem, or is there an orthopedic issue that's inhibiting the cat from extending its hips and getting up? Which is probably not likely. The first thing is you can't expect an animal to make a huge leap. If I'm trying to get them up the stairs, I can't expect that animal to go the whole way in one go. So this might be a training of putting a food dish on the stairs every day for a course of 10 to 15 days. And stop picking the kitty up, and I probably wouldn't do that. And keep it positive when you are upstairs. Keep it very positive, but that has to be an incremental, stepwise thing.
I love that. The cat will not go up the stairs. Michelle says, my kids notice our dog is more attached to me, and they're jealous. I tell them to walk and feed the dog, and he'll come around, but they're not convinced. What do I do?
Let your children start feeding the dog and doing the interaction, because it sounds like she's doing all the work at home, and the kids are just expecting and demanding respect and love and admiration. They're not going to do that. The dog is going to go to the person in the house that mainly feeds them and gives them affection and entertainment.
Dogs aren't dumb.
Yeah. They have their favorites for a reason.
Let's go to Sheila. Sheila, I know Sheila. This is our big boss, everybody. Sheila asks, my lab is protective of our 10-year-old Springer with cancer. She's become very aggressive and mean around dogs that come near him. What do I do?
Well, first of all, Sheila, I'm really sorry about having that diagnosis for your other puppy, but that's awful. I think the one thing, that dog is obviously protective and understands what's going on. I think that dog, unfortunately, the cancer is a terminal disease, and that dog, the dog that's going to survive is going to have to learn how to cope. So I think taking that dog out of the situation when there's without the dog and taking it to a neutral environment where there's other dogs that they can start to relate to and start to bond with and start to have social interaction without that dog there. That dog will have to learn how to cope on their own, and it's just going to be part of the process. And that's probably my best suggestion, because I cannot tell that dog to not be emotional when another dog is coming in and you're like...
The dog does sense it, right?
Yeah, they sense it and they know, and then when a dog is in their territory, I can't expect that dog to not have an emotional response.
Yeah.
I can avoid the situation. So.
Butter is done. Butter is ready to leave. Butter is food motivated. He's like, where's my mid-morning snack? Yeah. But before you go, I noticed during the commercial break, and if you notice, when we take a shot, Leo, if we can take a shot, you will notice the doctor is limiting Butter's movement, and that is on and that is on purpose, right?
Yeah. So it's first of all, obeying leash pressure starts at a young age. So if you ever see those extendable leashes, just throw them in the trash. Don't ever have an extendable leash. Leashes should be at a fixed length.
Yeah.
And when I put the leash on her at 12 weeks of age, she knows that leash only goes so far, and when she gets to the end of it, she stops.
That's it.
So for her, when I'm interacting, if I'm at the counter at say the spice shop down the street from where I go in, I put her leash down on the ground, and then I step on it like this so that she can't jump. One, she can't jump up on the counter, and she knows she's right there and she's healed and she's about to sit there. But she knows that she's at a fixed length.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That gives her, again, that's teaching her the structure. Those extendable leashes don't teach a dog the structure. They just go wherever.
They need structure. Give it up for the doctor, everybody. Dr. Eric Ruhland. For more information, head to stpaulpet.com.